What is your wedding?
July 15th, Mitzvah Shem.
I'm saying, and July 15th.
Is it yeah. All right. Good morning, everybody.
It's good to see you.
Great. All right. First item is very important. Very important. On Sunday.
He's making an announcement.
Yes. On Sunday, we're going to learn at 6:30. We're going to start at 6:30 because we're going to stop at the Mishnah today at the bottom. The blot look a little long. So I don't want to, be like a full Amud short on Sunday. So therefore, we'll give ourselves a little extra time. So 6:30 Sunday morning, Mitzvah Shem. So 6:37.
Go to sleep at 5 in the morning.
Yeah,
Saturday.
right. So you get
6:30.
You get a little more sleep. So
instead of
all right. So that was just to remember. Other than that, the good Chodesh and today is Daf Kuf. Daf Kuf, page 100. Wait a minute, tomorrow? I don't know if Eddie's coming or not.
you buy a drink, then it's free.
No, by the way, you're not sleep. Not for doing it.
Yeah, May already did.
Oh.
May already did.
You're a little slow,
All right, Mishnah, top Mishnah and Kufa Marav. And away we go. So Hamachlif Par B'Chamor. One who goes ahead. Now there's an exchange going on. All right, I'm giving Yigal my donkey for his cow. So we're going to switch. So Yigal's going to give me the cow, and I'm giving him the donkey.
Well, yeah.
So Yigal makes a kinyan on the donkey, right, like a chalipin, and wherever the cow is mine, right? I make a kinyan on it. Now, all of a sudden, we go to the cow, and we see he had a baby, it had a calf. So when we don't know exactly as to when the mother gave birth, didn't give birth before the kinyan, and therefore it's Yigal's.
It's my
Huh? And therefore it's Yigal's, and therefore it was just traded the mother for the donkey, right? But if the trade was done after the kinyan was done, so therefore the cow became mine once Yigal made the kinyan. 5 minutes later gave birth, so therefore both the mother and the calf is mine. Fine. So that's the question. That's going to be the question of today's
class. When is the kinyan does?
Right. One who sells his maidservant, right? The elder. She gives right. One says, so Yigal's going to go ahead and say, no. Before I sold it, it gave birth, and therefore the baby remains mine. The other one says, no. The buyer says, no, it happened after we did the kinyan, therefore the baby is mine. Yachloku says our Mishnah, you divide in this case, split it 50-50. So that's the two of them. One was big, one was small. So those are two fields. One was a large parcel, one was a smaller one. The buyer says, so they go ahead and they maybe it wasn't clear as to which one he was purchasing. So the buyer says, no. When I paid you this for the larger one, and the cotton and the other one says, the other one says, no. The seller says, no. I sold you the only the smaller one. I get to keep the big one. The other one says, I don't know. I skipped a line 1 second. So one guy says it was a larger one, I don't know. So for the one who, if one guy is bari, says yes, it was the bigger one. The other guy says I don't know. So the zacha is the bari. We go after the person who has the claim, the for sure claim, right? And the other one says, the seller says I sold the smaller one. Right, that's what the halay. The other one says, no, I do not know which one I sold. He only gets the smaller one because the other guy doesn't know. And if one guy says it was the big one, the other says the little one, Yishava HaMeicher, and then in that case, the shvua is made by the seller, that he only sold the smaller one. Therefore, he gets the smaller one, the other one doesn't go ahead and get it. And we'll explain how to understand this in the Mishnah because some of these appear to contradict one another. And each one says, I don't know. Then we say, Yachloku. Then we say, we go ahead and we divide it. Fine. That was the Mishnah.
What are we dividing here now?
The difference between the large parcel and the small parcel. All right. So therefore, they would divide the difference. Now, first of all, so the first case says, one guy says, you sold me, let's say the case of the baby, right? So he says, baby's mine, the other one says, baby's mine, so you divide it. Let's go see where the baby is. We'll see where the cow gave birth, and wherever it is, so the other guy wants to go ahead and get it, let him go ahead and bring proof. You can't bring a definitive proof, so therefore it remains where the muchzak. No, we're talking about a case where it's in a marsh. It's not either one of their rishos or shivchanami, the kind of the simta, or the shivcha should give birth somewhere in the alleyway or not in someone's rishos, and therefore there's the moksak. The nukma chazkas damara kama. What? There's another type of chazaka, chazkas mari kama, right? The one who originally owned it. So therefore, in the case of with me and Yigal, so Yigal originally owned the cow, and unless I know that the calf was mine, it should remain by Yigal. He's the Marikama. Therefore, this should be on the other person who's trying to go ahead and get the calf. So my answer is Hamani. Whose opinion is this? This is Sumchus. This is Sumchus who says that money which is in doubt, then we go ahead and divide it below shul without even a shul. So that's what he said till now. Now we got to put our thin caps. Smack in the middle, we're in the middle of the page on Kufam now. So Amor Damas B'Shema V'Shema. I understand where each one says Eini Odea and the other one says Eini Odea. So then it's Yachloku, right? They don't know Shema V'Shema. However, B'Bari Mi Amar. What about in the case of Bari? The other one says, right, the case of me and Yigal, I said, no, the calf was born afterwards, it's mine. Yigal said, no, the calf was born before, it's mine. So each one have a Bari claim, right? Someone's lying. Right. So yes, Amar Sumchus. So this is going to be a Rabbi Bar Avuna. It's going to be quoted a couple times. Yes, indeed. Amar Sumchus afilu bari. Yes, even in the case of both are definitive, then it is Yachloku. And Rabba Amar Liyalim Ki Amar Sumchus Shema. Really, the only time Sumchus says Yachloku is when each one is in doubt. Maybe it's mine. I don't know. Maybe it's mine. I don't know. Aval bari. But in case of each one is definitive, then Lo Amar. They don't say that. Vitani. And therefore, he says, no, you have to learn the mission. It doesn't mean Zelmer. It was a Lashon Zelmer Mishlakachli, right? Rather, Shema Mishlakachli, perhaps. Therefore, the Reisha is not a case of Bari Bari. The Reisha is the case of Shema V'Shema, right? Zelmer Shema Mishlakachli Tanan. And Zelmer Enidea, or Zelmer Enidea Yachloku. Now, in these cases, when they say Shema, that's what we're talking about. So, but we said in the Mishnah, so the Sefer of the Mishnah, which we just quoted, is Zelmer Enidea, Zelmer Enidea Yachloku. So now, if you look at the Mishnah, the last case is Yachloku, and the first case is Yachloku. All right. Now, the first case was talking about where they made a definite statement. It is mine, right? And then we just had a teretz. So one teretz was both cases are yes, enechanami. Even the case of bari b'bari, we say echloko, and the other one says no. The reisha doesn't mean to say definitive it is mine. It means perhaps it's mine. All right. Now,
same thing.
Same thing. So let's see. So now, bish loma l'Rava. I understand according to Rava, me the seifa shema v'shema reishanami shema v'shema. They can say Rava, look, it's teaching the whole thing that since the seifa is shema v'shema, also the reish is talking about shema v'shema. We'll soon say why we need two. El Rava baravuna da'ama in amar suchos afilu bari bari. Simcha says that both are, it's a definitive, even in the case of when there's definitive claims. So hashta bari bari amar yachloku shema v'shema bari. If you say yachlok in the case where each one has a certain claim, where they say it was for sure mishlakach, the other one says no, for sure ashla macharti. So if that case is yachloku, so certainly a case of shema shemas. It says no, even shumha la'iri. If that's the case, it's not really a question. Why? So tana sefer leguli reisha. It comes to you to teach you the sefer comes to teach you the reisha, right? Because if you just had one case, shalatana reisha shema sheva bari bari low. And therefore, if you just have the reisha, maybe I would have said it's a case of shema v'sheva. About bari bari low. So therefore, tana sefer shema v'sheva. Therefore, it comes to teach you the sefer shema v'sheva michlal the reisha bari bari. Right? Comes teaching that the reish leaves a case of bari bari, and therefore a case of yachlok. And therefore it'll come out that even according to the one who says Yachloku, the Enachinami, the Seifa is really just explaining the ratio where it's Ein Yodev is Ein Yodev, because both cases are Shema.
Sorry, even the mission was no machlokes between them, just there's no second opinion, is there?
No, right, correct. Yeah. Now, so Tanan, Zelmer Gadol, Zelmer Katan. So let's say now the second case, all right, the first case was giving birth. We don't know when the birth was given, all right? Second case was there was a sale and they made a kinyan, but it wasn't clear as to, they forgot as to which one they were talking about, whether the larger one, the larger field or the smaller field, or the larger Evid or the smaller Evid. So Zelmer Gadol, Zelmer Katan, Yishava Haricher Shakatan Machar. So therefore, if they each have a definitive claim, so the person who's selling makes a shavua hashakatan machar. He sold only the smaller one, and therefore he gets the smaller one. He gets to keep the bigger one. So bish lama rava the amar kiyamar sukkos shama shama. I understand according to Sukkos it says only in the case of shama shama ziyachloiku. Aval bari lo amar. You don't say that. Mishum hachi yishava, because over here you have a shvua. In other words, each one has a definitive claim. I get the big one. No, I get the big one. So we say, okay, the seller makes a shvua, and then he's putter from paying the rest, i.e. the difference between the gadol and the katan. So if you say a case of bari v'bari, right? In other words, only the case, bishul Rav Kiyamar Sunchus Shema Shema, well, bari lo, but in case of bari, that's the reason why you make a shvua. Now, Yelchog El Rabbi Rav Huna, the Amar Sunchus Afila bari. Yes, Sunchus says even in the case of each one is a definitive claim. Amai Shava. Why is there a shvua here and then he only pays that amount? Right. He should have a case of yachloku. So here comes the punchline, which we're going to discuss on Amud Beis. This is going to be the crux of today's shir. That Sukkot says if there is a shvua daraisa. Now, what's a shvua daraisa? A case of maida b'mixus. Maida b'mixus. The person makes a full claim and he responds, no, I owe you something, but not that amount. I owe you less. So in that case, then there's a shvua on the person, and therefore he makes a shvua on there. That's all I owe you, and then that's it. Just like over here, the Meicha says, I owe you, yes, a field, just a small field, and here is your small field, and I make a shvua. I don't owe you the larger field, and then he's potter. That's what it is. Now, let's go see this. Let's see what this means. So going in that case, he had two avadim, one big, one small. So Gemara says, so now we're going to say, why is that we have three problems with the case of this being Maida Mixus. All right, remember the two cases are that large Evid's mine. He says, no, I only sold you the small Evid. Case number two, that large lot is mine. The other parcel, the smaller one, is yours. Now, so the Gemara says, Yishava, 5 lines from the bottom, Yishava, Mashitana lo hodelo, Masha hodelo lo tano. I'm sorry?
Nice.
Yeah, or if it was clear as to which, it doesn't just say,
None, right?
Yeah. So now over here, so in this case, it's a good question because we'll see about it. But so in this case, I understand. So let's just say Meir is the Eved Gadol, and Avrami is the Eved Katan, and Randy is selling them to me. So I pay him money. So I say, give me Meir. He's the oldest, right? He's the more, right? And Randy says, no, I take Meir. So I understand. I'm claiming Meir, right? But I'm admitting, Randy, I'm claiming from Randy Meir, and he's admitting to me Avrami, right? So in a case of Maida Mixus, I claim $100. You, of that $100, I owe you 40 of it, right? So I'm admitting to part of your claim, right? But over here, Randy's not admitting to part of my claim. My claim is Meir. Randy's saying you get Avrami. It's two distinct different things. It's not part of one. It's two distinct things. So Masha Adulo like title. And furthermore, is another case. Even if you say that there's a law called Halach. Halach means here it is. Now there's if someone's made the mitzvah, let's say the object is there, right? A guy says you owe me these 6 cups in front of you. He says no, I only owe you 2 cups, right? So once I say Halach, it's as if it's already yours, and therefore you're claiming for me 4 cups, and I'm admitting 0. It's not a case of Maida Mixus if it's right in front of you. So over here, The field is right in front of you, or the Eved is right in front of you. It should be a case of Halach where it's not Moedim Mitzvahs. It's just we both agree on this. It's just the other we're arguing on. Then furthermore, English by Alavadim. Another more is we don't make a shvua on avadim. An Eved is like karka. You make shvua on metaltalin, right? But you don't make a shvua on avadim or karka. So why is this the case of Moedim Mitzvahs? So those are the three questions. So now we're going to discuss the answers. So Amarav. So B'tainim Demei Eved Gado, Demei Eved Kat. Is that the actual slave? It's the value of a large slave. That says no, it's the value of a small slave. And Demei Sadak Gado, Demei Sadak Katana, or the value of a small field versus the value of a large field. So that's one there. So Shmuel Amar, we're talking about B'tainim Ksus Eved Gado, Ksus Eved Katan. Aimer Sadak Gado, Aimer Sadak Katana. We're talking about a case of I'm not just claiming the Eved, but claiming the Eved with this garment that's on it. So in other words, it's not just like karka, rather, and we're still going to get to how it answers all questions. But we're also referring to the clothes of the Eved included, or when it comes to the field versus the stalks of the field, right? The stalks with the field. So first of all, the Gemara says, Ksus, and I said, even so, he said, it's still different. We have mayor's clothes and Avram's clothes. It's different clothes, right? So our answer is no. Yeah, sorry. So he says over there, we're talking about a case of basically like the clothing is like, I guess, you sort of, patch it together. It's like patches, right? So therefore, Mayor is a little bigger, right? His is 9 patches, and then Avrami's is 7 patches. In other words, but it's the same garment. So, Mayor with this clothes, and he says, no, take the same clothes. I need a little less of it, and that goes with Avrami, right? So in other words, it's really the same clothing, right? So it's interchangeable from larger to smaller in just different sections, and therefore there is a claim on the same thing. I'm telling Randy, give me the Mayor with the 9 attachments, and he says, no, you get Avrami with the 7 attachments, right? So therefore, there is the same item we're discussing. So Gemara says, so Kashle. Rabbi Yosha, but what about Rabbi Yosha's Akashi? He says, maybe ksus katani. Does it? The Mishnah say ksus? It doesn't say clothing. Tav kufam beis, right? It says Eved katani. It just says Eved. It doesn't mention clothing. The Mishnah it just mentions Eved. So Elam Rabbi Yosha Kegain Shitainu Eved ksus of a sada b'murav. So it says no. We're talking about where he claims the Eved in his clothing and the field with its stalks. So Gemara says, v'chati ksus. What about the case of the ksus? But it doesn't say this different items. So once again, I'm Rapapa. So says Rapapa, we're talking about the Yalfi. We're talking about a case of sexual. So Gemara says now Kashli of Sheshas. So now according to this, it works out that really they claim from the same thing. And this thing is a movable object. It's the clothing. It's not the Eved. It's not the karka, right? So over here, so now they're coming to teach you that since I have to go ahead and make a shvua on the clothing, then I could also go ahead and make a shvua on the Eved. Okay. Now this is halacha called zokikin, right? Now, as we force you, since you're already making this, then we force you to make something else. The Gemara says, so what do you come and teaching? What's the chiddush is that the mixes you make another shvua zokin asla shminan. So Tanina, we already learned that zokin and nechasim shein lamachrayis is nechasim sheish lamachrayis, right? We can go ahead if you want to make a shvua on something which is movable, which does not have a chrayis, right? There is no extended warranty, right? So that can cause you to also make a shvua on something that has a chrayis, such as land or slaves. The Shabbat so Elam Rav Sheshes Hamani who's been this is right Meir he Damar Abdo Kmatalton Dam. That an Eved is just like movable objects, and just like movable objects, you make a shvua upon. So over here, an Eved you can make a shvua upon, and we'll soon see what the status of the land is. You could also make a shvua on that. So Gemara says, v'akati mashatana lo lahodulo masha hodulo lo tana. Okay, but if you get rid of the whole clothing part, so now we get back to you're claiming Avrami. And the guy is offering you, I'm claiming Mayor, and you're offering me Avrami. So it's whatever you're claiming, it's 2 different objects. So like Rav Nachman, so he also like if one goes ahead and makes a claim of wheat, and it says, yes, I owe you crops, but it wasn't wheat, it was barley. Pater. He is pater. That's not a case of Maidim Mixus. That's not a partial admission. However, Gamliel Mechayev, Rabbi Gamliel says you are chayiv in that case. That is Maidim Mixus. In other words, he holds like this: if Meir is worth $100 and Avrami was worth $70, and I claim Meir, and the guy says I'll give you Avrami, right? Meir's older, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't feel bad. Avrami looks like depressed with my my analysis. Right. Anyway, so I'm claiming Meir $100, and he's admitting, no, you only get Avrami $70. That is Moedim Mixes, according to Gamliel. Even though it's two distinct objects, one's wheat, one's barley, that's still Moedim Mixes. So Akati Helechu, but okay, that's still Helech. He's saying, okay, here's Avrami, just take the difference, right? So isn't it Helech, and therefore they're only arguing about the $30 in between, the difference. Samarava. After the cut of the other, sorry about this, Avrami. We're talking about with the Eved, where they chopped off his hand. He can't just say, "Hey, look, here, I gave you Avrami here. You paid for Avrami here. Take it back," because the Avrami here doesn't have a hand, right? The cut of the other. The Sadeh Shechavim and Amaros, and the field is talking about where they dug it up and they destroyed it. So you can't just say, "Hey, look, here it is." So you have to go ahead and give it in a proper. Proper condition. I've heard Meir Eve Choshmin. But didn't Meir learn the opposite? The time with the Mishnah, Gezel Behem of his Zikna, right? Person goes out, he steals an animal of his Kina and it gets older, or Avadim, he steals an Aved of his Kino and they get older, or Mishalim B'Shasak Zela, you got to go ahead and pay from the point A what it's worth. And Rameir, Be'avadim, Amir Lo, Haresh Avadim, you could say, here, take it. So he's not Halech. Here, take it. There's no hand. Okay, who cares? Here it is. So Halakasha, now you switch around like Rabbi Avu, who actually switched around his Dishitas Vitana, and he taught Rabbi Meir, you pay for Shasak Zela, and therefore this is not considered to be Halech. The Chachamim say, no, you can say, hey, yours is in front of you. So now who says Rabbi Meir says Karka is just like Eved? We said earlier that Meir holds that an Eved is like Metalta. But who says land is like, if they're compared Eved to Karka, then so too by land. Land, you make a shvu on just like an Eved, just like you make a shvu on cash, right? So ma Eved nishbai, just like by Eved you make a shvu, right? Av Karka nishbai. So it says, and maybe over there we can compare the two, that just like by Eved we make a shvua, so too by Karka we should make a shvua. So Dilma, Eved hu nishbayin, about Karka lo, maybe just means that by Eved you don't, but by Karka lo, but the Karka you would not. So Gemara says, no, lo yisakad you wouldn't think to make the hold differently, right? It's not the time you learn a brayso. Hamafli par b'cham of yolda. When it goes ahead and he switches, like the first case of Mishnah, a cow for a donkey. This is a separate brayso. Or a donkey, and then it gives birth. Or a person goes out and sells a maidservant, she gives birth. So see, one says it happened in my rishus. The other one doesn't have an opinion. So Zacha. So therefore, the guy who was bari claiming, he is certain. We go with this claim. Zelmer and Yadev Zelmer and each one says I don't know. Then Yachloku. Then they go ahead and divide it. And Zelmer b'shusi, and if each one has a claim against each other. Yishaba ha'meicher shebeshusa yalda. Then the seller makes a shvua. This is all that I sold you. Because all the cases that we have in Torah, a person makes a shvua and does not pay. Divra Meir knows you can't make a shvua and then take the full amount, take the large amount. Rather, it's the seller makes a shvua and he only gives her the smaller amount. This is the opinion of Rabbi Meir. Ein nishbain lo al avadim v'lo al karkos. No, there is no shvua here because you can't make a shvua on avadim and karka. So lav mechlad or meir savar nishbain. So don't we see over here that Meir holds that you do make a shvua on avadim and. So over here, right? Because he says you make a shvua and then that's all you pay. So you see, make a shvua on karka. The one says mimai. Dilma kashem shekamalei kihechi daudis lebe karka. Maybe just like this, just like you admit to me that by karka. Right, right. Just like you admit to me by karka, you don't make a shvua. So too by vadim, you shouldn't make a net. And then they argue with Rabbi Meir. And so Teda, the Tanan, you should know is a proof, right? The Tanan, Rabbi Meir, yesh dvar shein kekarka, ve'ein kekarka. There are things that are similar to land, but not exactly like land. Ve'ein chachamim maidim lo, and the chachamim do not agree, right? And the chachamim do not agree. So what's a case of basically where they argue whether there's a shvua, right, or not? So Ketzad. Asara gafanim, 2 nice masar to the guy says, I gave you over 10 vines, you got to give them back. I only gave you you only gave me 5 vines full of grapes, not 10 vines full of grapes. Rav Meir says you're chayiv in this case. Chachamim say no, this is considered to be attached to the ground, and therefore you don't make a shvua in this case, not case of mine mixes. And Rav Meir says you are chayiv because these items, even though they're attached to the ground, it's like they're harvested. So since it's like they're harvested, mashma, that's the reason why you make a shvua. Otherwise, if it was just the land, Rav Meir would agree that by karka you don't go ahead and make a shvua. So clearly, right, the difference is, right, grapes that are set to be harvested, to be cut off. One says it's like it's cut off, that'll be Rav Meir, and therefore you make a shvua. It's not a shvua. So therefore, it's a kasha. Now, according to the whole teretz of, okay, Eved is, you can make a shvua on Eved, but what about karka? Clearly, you don't. No one says you make a shvua on karka in the case of Maidim mixes. Really, it's like Rabbi Yeshia. We're talking about an Eved with the closing, with the kasha chaz zayking, and your whole question was, what are you coming to teach us? This chiddush of zayking that we can force, since you have to make a shvua on a movable object, you also make a shvua on an Eved. We already know that. So we have another brisa which we saw. Where it says no, eat straight. You still need it. Maybe you think that the clothing of the Eved is just like the Eved himself, and therefore it's like swearing on an Eved. Or I may say dami kamash run. There's 2 different things. And finally, Zelmer and first line of the lines in the bottom, which is going to get to the Mishnah. I don't know which one it was. Everyone says, I also don't know which one. Then they divide it. So Hamani, whose opinion is this? This is that any money that is in doubt, that we don't know whose it is, therefore you just go ahead and divide it 50-50. So one says, I aim a safe. But we said each one makes a certain claim. Then you go ahead and the seller makes a shvua, and then he only pays them the smaller amount. Well, the Rabbi Bar Rav Huna Damar In Amar Asum Chasafil Bari Bari. So according to Rabbi Rav Huna, if each one has a definitive claim, Amai Yishava. Why should the other guy make a shvua and only pay the less? Amai Yishava Meicher Yachloku. They should go ahead and divide it. The answer is not Mibrele Simchos Heicha the Ika Shvua the Raisa Viktai Liyada Kedrav. No, we'll talk about it's a case of once again where that even in the case of what's called of Bari Bari, he would admit. In other words, we're talking about a case of where he's Maidim mixes, and you can't say left here. So also, and he doesn't have his hand there, therefore he can't say Halech. Therefore, it's a case of Maidim mixes, and therefore in this case he makes a shvua and it doesn't bring the rest. We'll stop. It's Sunday.